معلش انا عندي انا بلغت محاضره هبدأ هلا بيجي. مساء الخير، يعطيكم العافية. كيف حالكم؟ إن شاء الله تكون أموركم تمام. طيب. Last time we stopped on using adjective clauses to modify pronouns. We talked about this issue and we answered the questions. We did the exercises. Today we'll start with a new topic, which is punctuating the adjective clauses. How to use punctuations when you are dealing with an adjective clause. As I told you that if you punctuate the adjective clause, this will make a difference in the meaning. So we will wait about 2-3 minutes to make our colleagues sign in. He said Masaka Sliman. Just to let our colleagues sign in, then we will start our discussion. Meanwhile, I will prepare the PDF file. We are on page 285. 285 if you are following with your box. طيب خلينا نستنى بس زملائنا في Okay, since we don't have too much participants today, we have to start our discussion. Today we'll talk about how to punctuate the adjective clause. Look at the warm-up exercise. خلاص أمهلك. Okay. طيب. I want to read these two sentences and notice the difference in meaning in the pronunciation or in the meaning when I read these two sentences. I want you, when I'm reading, just decide which adjective clause can be omitted with no change in the meaning of the noun it modifies. And what do you notice about the use of commas? Now, listen how I read them. I just found out that Lara Johnson, who spoke Russian fluently, has applied for the job at the Russian embassy. Again, I just found that Laura Johnson, who spoke Russian fluently, has applied for the job at the Russian embassy. This is number one. Number two, that's not the job for you. only people who speak Russian fluently will be considered for the job at the Russian embassy. Just a minute, بس بعد إذنكم. Think about the difference.
ما في صوت صح؟
I'm sorry for the interruption, but I had a very important phone call. طيب, you thought about the difference between the two sentences. I just found out that Laura Johnson, who spoke Russian fluently, has applied for the job at the Russian embassy. The second sentence says, that's not the job for you. Only people who speak Russian fluently will be considered for the job at the Russian embassy. Can you notice something from this, from reading these sentences? أسامة بحكي لنا who speak Russian fluently حاط quotation marks can be omitted by but who speak Russian fluently which one okay who speaks أول وحدة. You mean in the first sentence if you omit the relative clause or what we call the adjective clause which is restricted, which is not restrictive, which is between these two commas, if you omit this clause, this will not change the meaning of the sentence. You can say I just found out that Laura has applied for the job at the Russian embassy because we have only one Laura, and you know whom I'm talking about. You know the person. I just added this clause who speaks Russian fluently just to give you more information about Laura or Lara. The other sentence, that's not the job for you. Only people who speak Russian fluently. This clause, who speak Russian fluently, this is called restrictive adjective clause because we restrict our focus only on one category of people or one group of people who speak Russian fluently. And this information is very important in the sentence. We cannot omit it. If you omit it, this will change the meaning of the sentence. If you read it without this adjective clause, that's not the job for you. Only people will be considered for the job. Which people you mean? There is no clear indication of about whom I'm talking. So the first one, which is put between two commas, this is called addition, or this is called non-restrictive because it doesn't restrict this on the description on one person, but the other one, this is called restrictive adjective clause because it restricts the description of one person here or one group of people. Let's read what is there in this chart. اليوم مش عارف شو ماله الفايل، يعني ماشي اليوم ببطء شديد، معلش تحملونا. Look at punctuating the adjective clauses. General guidelines for the punctuation of adjective clauses. Do not use commas if the adjective clause is necessary to identify the noun it modifies. As I told you, if the adjective clause is important, is necessary, it cannot be removed from the sentence, you don't use commas. But use commas if the adjective clause simply gives additional information and is not necessary to identify the noun it modifies. Only if it is necessary for the speaker or for the reader, for the hearer, it is necessary to understand the meaning, or to what item or what clause, to what noun it identifies. So it is important, you cannot remove it. If it is not important and it can be removed from the sentence without affecting the meaning, this clause could be put between two commas. Look here at the examples. In this case, in the first case, or the two sentences that we read, here the adjective clause comes in the middle of the sentence. Now, what about if the adjective clause comes in the beginning or at the end of the sentence? How can we deal with punctuating this? Look here. The professor who teaches chemistry 101 is an excellent lecturer. The professor who teaches chemistry 101 is an excellent lecturer. Professor Wilson, who teaches chemistry 101 is an excellent lecturer. Notice the difference between the two sentences. ليش ماله هذا اليوم مش راضي يتحرك؟ معلش يلا ما نطول بالنا. Then again, the professor who teaches chemistry 101. I don't know who is the professor you are talking about. I give you this information. The professor who teaches chemistry 101 is an excellent lecturer. If you remove the clause in blue without giving any information, is an excellent lecturer, in this case, this affects the meaning of the sentence. Is an excellent lecturer. I don't understand, or you don't understand, if I tell you this sentence without adding the first part, the professor who teaches chemistry 101. But in the second sentence, the Professor Wilson, me and you know Professor Wilson. There is one Professor Wilson in the department, and this professor teaches 101 chemistry 101. If you remove who teaches chemistry 101, this will not affect the meaning. Is an excellent lecturer. لما نحكي Professor Wilson is an excellent lecturer. Me and you and all those who hear me saying this sentence will understand that Professor Wilson who teaches this subject. Notice in A, no commas are used. The adjective clause is necessary to identify which professor is meant. While in B, commas are used. The adjective clause is not necessary to identify Professor Wilson. You already know who he is. He has a name. The adjective clause simply gives an additional information. Then you have to decide where the information is necessary and where the information is extra or gives you extra information about the noun it modifies. This is the difference in the two meanings. Notice in C, Hawaii, which consists of 8 principal islands, is a favorite vacation spot. Mr. Smith, who is a retired teacher, does volunteer work at the hospital. Again, Hawaii, I imagine that you don't know anything about Hawaii. I'm telling you that Hawaii, which consists of 8 principal islands, is a favorite vacation spot. In D, Mr. Smith, who is a retired teacher, does volunteer work at the hospital. Use commas as in B and C and D, if an adjective clause modifies a proper noun. How I, Professor Wilson, Mrs. Smith, all these are proper nouns. شو يعني أسماء علم, اسم علم. These are called proper names or proper nouns. A proper noun begins with a capital letter. طبعا يعني you know that from your experience that proper nouns usually begin with a capital letter, like your names. Your names are proper nouns. So proper nouns are names of places, names of people, and so on. So proper nouns should begin with a capital letter. And if you say a proper noun, the adjective clause, it modifies here, it is an extra one because the proper noun is a self-explanatory, and you don't need to add more information. You don't need to add, this adjective clause is not necessary. If you remove it, you still know Hawaii, you still know Professor Wilson, you still know Mrs. Smith, because this in your own information you have met or you have known about these proper nouns. A comma reflects a pause in speech. When you speak the sentence, a comma, when you face a comma in the sentence, you have to have a small pause or a small, a small stop in reading the sentence. The man whom, or that I met teaches chemistry. The man, when I'm telling you about a man, I met a man in a place, maybe in the supermarket, maybe in the street, but you don't know the man, and there is nothing you can understand about who I'm talking. When you say here, stop. The man who or whom or that I met teaches chemistry. Here we don't have commas. So you need me to give you information to decide about the man I'm telling you about. If no commas are used, any possible pronoun may be used in the adjective clause. Here, there is no commas, so you can use one of these adjective pronouns. Listen, just a minute. I'm sorry. حكينا إنه if no commas are used, any possible pronoun may be used in the adjective clause. Object pronouns may be omitted. يعني هذا الموضوع حكينا فيه من قبل إنه when to add and when to remove the adjective clause pronoun. Number F, Mr. Lee, whom I met yesterday, teaches chemistry. In this case, you have only one option, which is to use whom in this one. When commas are necessary, the pronoun that may not be used, you can only use whom. You may not, listen. When commas are necessary, the pronoun that may not be used. That you can't use that. But you can use who, whom, which, where, and when. These options may be used, and when to use one of these, according to which kind of adjective clause you are using. بدكم ترجعوا للمعلومات اللي حكيناها من قبل وتعرفوا متى بنستخدم whom, متى بنستخدم who, which, whose, or where, or when أيضا. But if there is no comma, you can use either who, whom, or any of them, that, or zero pronoun. While if you are using commas, you shouldn't use that. You should use one of these according to what the adjective clause needs. An object pronoun cannot be omitted. In this case, when you have commas, it's inappropriate to remove the adjective pronoun. You need to use zero adjective pronoun. Compare the meaning here in the last case. Compare the meaning. We took some children on a picnic. The children who wanted to play soccer ran to an open field as soon as we arrived at the park. We took some children on a picnic. Maybe the class consists of 20 student or 20 children. We took some children to a picnic. Maybe they are only 20. The children who wanted to play soccer, we are here restricting we are here using commas. We are talking about the children. You already know that which children we are talking about, because I'm telling you before. Because I'm telling you before that there are a group of children whom I took to the picnic. The children who wanted to play soccer ran to an open field as soon as we arrived. This means that all the children who went in the picnic, they are going to play soccer. In G, the use of commas means that all of the children wanted to play soccer and all of the children ran to the open field. The adjective clause is used only to give additional information about the children. يعني زي ما تكلمنا لما بنشيله when we remove the adjective clause, this will not affect the meaning. لو حكينا the children ran to an open field, you know from the beginning of the sentence we took some children. All of these children ran to the open field, to an open field as soon as we arrived at the park. So this is called non-restrictive adjective clause. Non-restrictive because the adjective clause does not restrict the description to a group of children. All the children I'm telling you about ran to the field, and you know this from reading this, using the commas before and after the adjective clause. We took some children on a picnic. We took some children on a picnic. The children who wanted to play soccer ran to an open field as soon as we arrived at the park. The others played a different game. As I told you, the description at the beginning, there is a group of children, maybe 20, less, more, whatever. Those children, some of them are going to play soccer and others not. The children who wanted to play soccer, those who are planning to play soccer, ran to the open field, and the other group did something else. In H, the lack of commas means that only some of the children wanted to play soccer. The adjective clause is used to identify which children ran to the open field. So in the second case, in H here, the adjective clause restricts the description to a group of children, those who wanted to play soccer. Not all the children who went on the picnic are going to play soccer. Maybe 5, 6, 7, whatever the number is, are going to play soccer, but the others are planning to do something else. So we restrict the description to this group of children. Adjective clauses that do not require commas are called essential or restrictive or identifying. Adjective clauses يعني هدول متى essential or restrictive, that they are not used, they do not require commas. While the adjectives with commas are called non-essential, non-restrictive, non-identifying. Non-essential adjective clauses are more common in writing than in speaking. يعني non-essential, most commonly used in writing, not in speaking. Do you have any questions so far? Either when you use comma before and after the adjective clause, this is unnecessary. You can remove it without affecting the meaning of the sentence. If there are no commas in the adjective clause, this means that it is essential. You can't remove the adjective clause without affecting the meaning of the sentence. Now notice this exercise. Decide if the information in blue is necessary or additional. If it is additional, add commas, read the sentence aloud, pausing where necessary. We just want to decide here from this case, we just want to decide which one is additional and which one is necessary. بس اكتبوا لي، بقرأ لكم أنا الجملة، تكتبوا لي necessary or essential. Number 1, the man who lives in the apartment next to mine has 3 cats and a dog. There are no commas, no pauses. الأولى والثانية محلولة. Yes, Sandra Day is in my political science class, and Erika Nelson, who lives in the dorm room next to mine, is in a Greek drama class. احنا حكينا انه في لما يكون عندنا proper name like here Erika Nelson, we the adjective clause which comes after is an additional one. It's not a necessary one. Number 3, rice, which is grown in many countries, is a staple food throughout much of the world. What do you think? Is it necessary or additional? Rice, which is grown in many countries, is a staple food throughout much of the world. What do you think? All of us know what is rice. It is additional. Rice, which is grown in many countries, is a staple food, so it is additional. Excellent. It is additional. Number 4, the rice which we had for dinner last night was very good. Is it necessary or additional? The rice, it is necessary because I am telling you about a certain rice. This one, the rice which we had for dinner last night, not the one which we ate last week or the one which we bought today. Just I'm restricting my focus. I'm focusing on the rice which we had for dinner last night. Number 5, the newspaper article was about a man who died 2 weeks ago of a rare tropical disease. أيوة شو بتعتقدوا؟ Is it necessary or additional? It is necessary, yes, it is necessary. Why it is necessary? Because you don't know which man I'm talking about. The newspaper article was about a man. Which man? Who died 2 weeks ago of a rare tropical disease. When the adjective clause comes at the end of the sentence and it is not necessary, you put a comma at the beginning of the adjective clause. في هاي الحالة لو فرضنا إنه هذا this adjective clause is additional, you put the comma before the beginning of the adjective clause. If it comes at the beginning, you put the comma after the adjective clause. Paul O'Grady, who died 2 weeks ago of a sudden heart attack, was a kind and loving man. What do you think? Paul O'Grady, because this is a proper noun, so it is additional. Paul O'Grady. Number 7. I have found memories of my hometown, which is situated in a valley. It is necessary because you don't know where is my hometown. It is necessary. I have found memories of my hometown, which is situated in a valley. Number 8. I lived in a town which is situated. Okay. هلا هون وصلنا. I live in a town which is situated in a valley. It is also here necessary. In 7, this is something ambiguous a little bit, because if you suppose that you know my hometown, this is unnecessary. But if I suppose that you don't know my hometown, it is necessary. يعني هنا in 7 I think in both cases can apply. يعني maybe it depends on the context. I live in a town. Here in a town, this is really necessary because you don't know about which town I'm talking about. But in 7 you can say that it is additional. Number 9, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Necessary, yes, sure, it is necessary. Number 10, in a children's story, Little Red Riding Hood, who went out one day to visit her grandmother, طبعا هاي ليلى والذئب, found a wolf in her grandmother's bed when she got there. Yes, what do you think? It is additional because all of us, all around the world, know the story of Red Riding Hood. كلنا بنعرف ليلى والذئب، نعرف قصة ليلى ذات الرداء الأحمر. طيب, let's move to the next exercise or to the next topic. خلينا ناخذ الموضوع اللي بعده. ناخذ هذا التمرين. Yes. Other listening. Let's talk about this one. Looking at grammar, add commas when necessary. Change the adjective clause pronoun that. Add commas where necessary. Change the adjective clause pronoun that. If possible, read the sentence aloud, pausing where necessary. يعني هون برضو بدنا نقرر whether the adjective clause is additional or it is necessary. Mariko and Jackie, who did not come to class yesterday, explained their absence to their teacher. Who cannot be used, cannot be changed to that. Pauses are used in speaking and commas. 2 كمان محلولة. The students who didn't come to class yesterday explained their absence to the teacher. Who can be changed to that, and no commas are needed. 3. The Mississippi River, which flows south from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico, is the major commercial river in the United States. Does the adjective clause, which flows south from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico, need to be punctuated using commas or not? Is it additional or is it necessary? What do you think? إسراء أنت مجاوبتنا على هذا السؤال ولا على اللي قبله مش فاهمة أنا؟ Yes, it is additional. It is additional because you need to add commas before and after the adjective clause, and that cannot be used in this case. Number 4, عفوا. A river which is polluted is not safe of swimming. A river which is polluted, it is necessary. So you can use that. يعني بصير نحكي a river that is polluted is not safe from swimming. So it is necessary that can be used. Number 5. طبعا الجلسة الأولى اقتربت إنها ظل منها 5 دقائق تقريبا أو أكثر شوي. قربت تخلص. بدنا ننتقل للجلسة اللي بعديها. مش تنسوا أصلا اليوم الحضور أصلا خفيف. لا منيحة يوم 14 13. Mr. Trang. دقيقة. Mr. Trang, whose son won the spelling contest. أنا بقرأ لكم بدون ما أعطيكم أي إيحاءات. Mr. Trang, whose son won the spelling contest, is very proud of his son's achievement. The man whose daughter won the science contest is also very pleased and proud. نأخذها جزء. نأخذ الجزء الأول. Mr. Tang, whose son won the spelling contest, is very proud of his son's achievement. The first one is additional because it is preceded by a proper name, Mr. Trang. Here it is a proper name. So it is additional. Mr. Trang, there is no need to add commas. The second part, the man whose daughter won the science contest is also very pleased. The second one is necessary. So there is no need to use commas before and after the adjective clause. Is that clear? Number 6. Goats which were first tamed more than 9,000 years ago in Asia have provided people with milk, meat, and wool since prehistoric times. Goats which were first tamed more than 9,000 years ago in Asia. It is necessary. So don't use commas because we are talking about only a group of goats which are tamed or that are tamed, because which here can be replaced with that in restrictive or necessary adjective clauses. Number 7, Mrs. Clark has to go. Mrs. Clark has to go. She's furious at the goat which got on the wrong side of the fence and is eating her flowers. What do you think? Mrs. Clark has 2 goats. She is furious at the goat which on the wrong side of the fence. Okay, that is necessary because we are going to restrict our focus on one of the goals that or which is eating the flowers. Look here at the pictures. We are not talking about this. We are talking about this goat. Is it clear so far? يلا hopefully. ننتقل على الموضوع اللي بعده على طول اللي هو وين أنا صرت لحظة using okay خلاص خلينا ننتقل على الموضوع اللي بعده اللي هو using expressions of quantity in adjective clauses. أشوف قديش معي وقت 3 دقائق. بدي أحاول أعطيكم فكرة عن الموضوع بس هذا يسعفني ويتحرك كويس. ممتاز. طيب using expressions of quantity يعني بنسميهم quantifiers like few, a few, little, a little, much, most, etc. In my class, there are 20 students. Most of them are from Asia. In my class, here we have 2 sentences. We want to combine these two sentences into one sentence, which includes an adjective clause. بس دقيقة 10 11 احنا قربنا نخلص يا رب. طيب نحاول ننهي اليوم ما زبطت ننهي بكرة. We have 2 sentences. In my class there are 20 students. Most of them are from Asia. In my class there are 20 students, most of whom are from Asia. Most of whom are from Asia. He gave several reasons, only a few of which were valid. Only a few of which are valid. The teachers discussed Jim, one of whose problems was poor study habits. Type. An adjective clause may contain an expression of a quantity with of, most of, one of, a few of, or like these quantifiers. Some of, many of, most of, 2 of, half of, both of, etc. The expression of a quantity precedes the pronoun. It precedes the pronoun. Which pronoun you mean? We mean the adjective clause pronoun. Only whom, which, and whose are used in this pattern. We have only 3 adjective pronouns that can be used in this pattern, which are whom, which, and whose. Whom for objective pronouns, which for objects, and whose for possession. This pattern is more common in writing and speaking than speaking. Commas are used. This pattern is a very formal pattern. It is only used in writing. It is rarely used in speaking. So in this case, you put the quantifier or the quantity, the expression of a quantity before the adjective clause pronoun, and you use commas here. We used only 1 comma before the adjective clause. We only used 1 comma before the adjective clause. So in this case, when you use expressions of a quantity before the adjective clause, you only use 3 adjective clause pronoun, which, whom, and whose, and you put the quantifier before the adjective clause pronoun, and it is preceded by a comma. Okay, this is the idea. ما رح نقدر نبدأ بالتمارين لأنها خلصت الجلسة، يعني ثواني ورح يفصل لحاله. خلينا بس نبدأ الجلسة الثانية. لسه في عنا 4 طلاب فقط، 3 طلاب فعليا، نستنى الباقين. Using which to modify a whole sentence. عنا بعديها reducing adjective clause to adjective phrase. بس عنا 3 مواضيع وبننهي المادة. هو مواضيع قصيرة جدا، يعني الشارتس عبارة عن آخر واحدة بس إيش؟ آخر واحدة طويلة. Using expressions of quantity in adjective clauses. هاي خلصناها. ننتقل اللي بعدها. طيب لسه still بعدهم بدخلوا. طيب خليني أروح أنا أشرب مي على بال ما يتجمعوا. Yes. How many students? We still have 7 students. مش مشكلة، رح نبدأ بالتمرين حتى لو ما تجمعوش لأنه بدنا نلحق نخلص. Combine the 2 sentences in each item. Use the second sentence as an adjective clause. The city has 16 schools. 2 of them are junior colleges. The city has 16 schools, 2 of which are junior colleges. Now you want to decide when to use whom, when to use which, and when to use whose. فيش داعي ارجع اعيد لانه بعتقد الموضوع احنا شرحناه من قبل. Number 2. Last night the orchestra played 3 symphonies. One of them was Beethoven's 7th. يلا اشوف فرجوني كيف بدكم تربطوا هدول الجملتين بجملة واحدة باستخدام الadjective clauses. Last night, the orchestra played 3 symphonies. One of them was Beethoven's 7th. شو ماله مش راضي يشبك معهم الشباب؟ لا هي شابك. اوكي. No answer. ما فيش اجابات لحد هلا. I'm still waiting. Yes. طيب أحلها أنا. Last night the orchestra played 3 symphonies, one of which was Beethoven's seventh عفوا. Last night the orchestra played 3 symphonies, one of which was Beethoven's seventh. Is it difficult? It's not. Number 3, I tried on 6 pairs of shoes. I liked none of them. Last night بس احنا ربطنا الجملتين مع بعض، عملناهم جملة واحدة باستخدام الريلاتيف الادجكتيف كلوز pronoun which one of which هو already حاط لنا one of them، بس them بدنا نستبدلها ب which وبدنا نشيل الفول ستوب ونحط comma. Last night the orchestra played 3 symphonies, comma, one of which was Beethoven's seventh. بس. I tried on 6 pairs of shoes. I liked none of them. هاي هنا في شوية تغيير. I tried on 6 pairs of shoes, comma, I liked none of which. Or none of which I liked. I tried 6 pairs of shoes, comma, none of which I liked. None of which عفوا I liked. Number 4 فكروا لي فيها. The village has around 200 people. The majority of them are farmers. يلا بدنا نحل آخر وحدة لأنه بدنا ننتقل على المواضيع نغطيها. The village has around 200 people, most of whom are farmers. أحسنت يا أسامة، أحسنت. Most of whom are farmers. ممتاز. إذن بلش فين التفاعل. معناته ناخذ كمان جملة. That company currently has 5 employees. All of them are computer experts. The company currently has 5 employees. All of them are computer experts. Yalla, I'm waiting. The company currently has 5 employees. All of them are computer experts. The company currently has 5 employees, all of whom are computer experts. All of whom are computer experts. خلاص بكفي هذا التمرين. انتم مش عاجبكم وانا معيش وقت اني انا اقعد استنى فيكم لحتى تفكروا. نشوف هذا التمرين. Complete the sentences with your own words. Use adjective clauses. هلا من عندنا بدنا نكتب. ما بدنا احنا نربط جمل ببعض، بدنا من عندنا نكمل تكمله حسب ما بتناسب الجمله. Al introduced me to his roommates, both of whom are from California. Both of whom are from California. The Powell sons own 4 automobiles. One of which is new. ممتاز. One of which is a new. كمان one of which is مثلا Mercedes. One of which is a classic style مثلا. I have 3 brothers. All of brothers معروفة بنستخدم لهم whom. All of whom. I have 3 brothers, all of whom. يلا فيش أفكار؟ الناس نايمة ولا شو؟ هلو اصحوا يا شباب، استيقظوا، لسه بدري على النوم. All of whom are older than me. ممتاز يا جماعة، صحصحوا. صح آخر محاضرة بس صحصحوا شوي. All of whom are older than me. ماشي. I'm taking عفوا 4 courses. One of courses طبعا which. يلا شكله بلشت النومة معكم. هلا بترككم تسهروا للفجر، لكن تعوا جاوبوا نعسانين. يلا نعستوني معكم. I am taking 4 courses, one of which is grammar 2. One of which is grammar 2. I have 2 roommates, neither of whom are Jordanian. This semester I had to buy 15 books, most of which are expensive. Is it difficult? Don't know. طيب خلينا ننتقل على الموضوع الرقم. ايش هذا هلا؟ احنا quantifiers now, using which to modify a whole sentence. In this case, which we are going to talk about, we are going to use which to modify a whole sentence, which means which is going to modify an idea, not a specific item in the sentence. It doesn't refer to a specific item in the sentence. It refers to the idea of the whole sentence. شو يعني? Look at the examples. Tom was late. That surprised me. Tom was late, comma, which surprised me. Here which Does it refer to a single item in the sentence? Does it modify a certain noun clause? No, it doesn't. It modifies the idea, the whole sentence. What is the whole sentence? That Tom was late. Being late, or Tom was late, this idea, or the idea of this sentence surprised me. So here, which doesn't refer to a single item or a single noun in the sentence. It refers to the whole sentence, to the idea of the whole sentence. The elevator is out of order. This is too bad. The elevator is out of order, which is too bad. Here, which doesn't refer to a single item in the sentence. It refers to the whole sentence or to the idea itself. سهلة، ما بدها شيء، هي كثير سهلة. The pronoun that and this can refer to the idea of a whole sentence which comes before. في حالة إنه we have two separate sentences. In A, the word that refers to the whole sentence, Tom was late. This is A. Similarly, an adjective clause with which may modify the idea of the whole sentence. We are modifying, we are giving information about what? About the idea of the whole sentence. In B, using which هي قرأناها أصلا. In B, the word which refers to the whole sentence, Tom was late. Using which to modify a whole sentence is informal and occurs more frequently in spoken English. This structure is generally not appreciated in formal writing. Whenever it is written, however, it is preceded by a comma to reflect a pause in speech. طبعا يعني مش لأنها هي informal. You don't need to know it. Just here to know that sometimes which is used to refer to the whole sentence or to the idea of the whole sentence, and which is the only adjective pronoun that is used in this case. ما بنستخدم هو ولا whose ولا that ولا شيء. إذن we use which to refer to the idea of the whole sentence. هاي المعلومة ما بعتقد إنها جديدة عليكم. مش كلكم أخذتوا إنجليزي 101. It is not a new piece of information. Now let's do some of these sentences, some of these exercises. Number 1, combine the two sentences. Use the second sentence as an adjective clause. Sonia lost her job. That wasn't surprising. شو هو اللي that wasn't surprising? That Sonia lost her job. Sonia, lost her job, which wasn't surprising. The idea of losing the job, that Sonia lost her job, the idea was not surprising, so we used which to modify the whole sentence. Number 2, she usually come to work late. That upset her boss. هي المفروض that upsets her boss. Yes. شو بنعمل؟ بتصير she usually come to work late, comma, which upsets her boss. بس. So her boss fired her. That made her angry. So her boss fired her, which made her angry. So her boss fired her, comma, which made her angry. She did not, number 4, she hadn't saved any money. That was unfortunate. She hadn't saved any money, comma, which was unfortunate. بس هاي هي الفكرة بالتمرين. خلينا نشوف التمرين هذا قبل ما ننتقل للموضوع الأخير. Combine a sentence A and B. Use B as an adjective clause. Use formal written English. Punctuate carefully. هذا التمرين هو عبارة عن ملخص لكل الشارتس اللي حكينا فيها from 1 to 10. فهذا التمرين بدي إياكم أنتوا تحلوه لوحدكم، وإذا في عندكم أي سؤال بخصوص هذا الموضوع بدكم توصلوا الجملتين مع بعض، بدكم تستخدموا البنكتويشنز في الوقت المناسب، بدكم تقرروا متى adjective clause is necessary and when it is additional. Use the appropriate punctuation marks, and sometimes you need to, most of the times, not sometimes, you need to choose the appropriate adjective clause pronoun. تمام؟ يلا. آخر موضوع بدنا نحكي له هذا اليوم هو reducing adjective clause to an adjective phrase. First of all, I want you to distinguish between a clause and a phrase. The clause is a sentence. هيها هون في البداية كاتبين لكم إياها. A clause is a group of related words that contains a subject and a verb. اتفقنا عليها هاي في بداية النقاش إنه the clause usually contains a subject and a verb. It is a sentence. It is a sentence because the major elements of the sentence are there, subject and the verb. But a phrase is a group of related words that does not contain a subject and a verb. مثلا لما بحكي لكم the beautiful girl, this is what? This is a noun clause, but it's not a sentence. It is not a sentence because there is no verb in the sentence. The beautiful girl, the old man, these are phrases. They do not contain a verb or a subject. They are a group of words. They are related. They have something in common. They share or they modify a certain element in the phrase. When I say the old man, man here is the head word, or what we call it, the noun that is modified by the other words. Look at this. خلينا نشوف شو كاتبين هنا. The girl who is sitting next to me is May. Who is sitting next to me is May. The phrase the girl sitting next to me, it is here sitting next to me. It's not an adjective clause. Here it is an adjective phrase. Why it is an adjective phrase? Because here we don't have a subject and we don't have here the verb. We only have sitting next to me. This is sitting, here is a gerund. Here it comes to as a gerund, but here it is an progressive in the progressive form. The girl sitting next to me is May. And see, the girl whom I saw was May. We don't here have an equivalent noun or adjective phrase to whom I saw. An adjective phrase is a reduction. شو يعني reduction؟ هو عبارة عن اختصار of an adjective clause. يعني بنختصر إحنا adjective clause بنشيل جزء منه لحتى يتحول من clause إلى phrase. An adjective phrase is a reduction of an adjective clause. It modifies a noun. It does not contain a subject and a verb. So it doesn't contain the subject or the verb. Examples in A and B. Look at these. A, the girl who is sitting next to me, the girl whom I saw, have the same meaning. يعني هنا A and B, they have the same meaning. A and B عفوا أنا قرأت سي معها. Only adjective clauses that have a subject pronoun who, which or that are reduced to modifying adjectives. يعني لما بنستخدم where, when, we don't reduce them into phrases. Who, whom, or which are reduced to modifying adjective phrases. The adjective clause in C, the girl whom I saw cannot be reduced. إذا لو يكون معنا whom, which, whom, where, when, they cannot be reduced into phrases. Only, so the rule is when the adjective clause has one of these three adjective clause pronouns, whom, who, which, or that, they can be reduced into a phrase, but the other adjective pronouns, they cannot be reduced into phrases. خلينا نشوف هون اللي بعدها. The The man وين راحوا؟ فلوا الشباب والصبايا طلعوا من المحاضرة. The man who is talking to John is from Korea. This is a clause. How can we reduce it into a phrase? The man شلنا بنشيل subject وبنشيل الverb اللي he who is. بتصير the man talking to John is from Korea. The clause if the ideas which are presented in that book are good. The ideas presented in that book are good. The ideas presented in that book are good. Number G, Anne is the woman. That is بنشيلهم. This is the subject and this is the verb. We just keep the rest of the adjective clause to reduce it into a phrase. Anne is the woman that is responsible for the error. Anne is the woman responsible for the error. There are two ways in which an adjective clause is changed to an adjective phrase. Number one, if the adjective clause contains be, is, or are, form of the verb omit the subject pronoun and the be form as in e and f. Then here we have an adjective clause pronoun and a verb to be. The first step or the first way to change an adjective clause to a phrase, remove the subject and the verb to be. The second way, هاي الأولى. الطريقة الثانية أوبس يا ولدي شو هذا صار؟ نسيت حالي أنا. رجعنا من نقطة البداية. I'm sorry for this mistake. مشكلة إنه أحياناً بتنح بطل يرضى يتحرك. Which page is this? This is 277 أو في عنا كثير شغل. ميتين وثمانين still بعدنا بعد. ميتين وستة وتسعين. قربنا. هلا على بال ما يفتح على الصفحة المناسبة بدي أعمل لكم محاضرة مراجعة. هاي محاضرة المراجعة أنتم بدكم تحددوا وقتها بناء على متى بتكونوا جاهزين، لأنه في إجتني أسئلة من بعض الطلاب عن مواضيع معينة بدي أعيدها لكم أو بدي يعني أوضحها لكم. وإذا في عندكم بهاي الفترة بتقرروا يمكن نعملها الأربعاء بنعملها يعني عشان امتحاناتكم تبدأ شو التاريخ اللي بتبدأ فيه الامتحانات؟ لحظة إحنا اليوم 23 الامتحانات بتبدأ ب1/9 معكم الأسبوع هذا طوله وحتى بداية الأسبوع القادم في معكم وقت بحيث إنه أنتوا تكونوا راجعتوا المادة وحددتوا شو النقاط اللي بدها إعادة، وإذا في عندكم أي أسئلة ممكن تبعتوا لي. فأنا الآن رح أترككم تدرسوا تراجعوا المادة وتبعتوا لي على الجروب تحددوا بينكم وبين بعض تتناقشوا متى بدكم تاخذوا محاضرة المراجعة. أنا بحبها كثير محاضرة المراجعة لأنه في أشياء بتكون مش واضحة أو واضحة يعني ما كانت واضحة بشكل كبير بنعيد التركيز عليها من خلال مراجعتكم من خلال الأسئلة اللي بتسألوها، فبيكون في فرصة إنه نعيد التركيز على بعض الأمور. فبدي تقرروا لي خلال الأسبوع هذا أو مطلع الأسبوع القادم بالكثير مطلع الأسبوع القادم، لأنه بديش أنا يعني آخذ من وقت الدراسة على الامتحان. بتحددوا الوقت المناسب وبتخبروني علشان نعمل محاضرة مراجعة. وإذا الكل ما بيحب يحضر that's fine، اللي بيحب يستفيد يحضر، ما بيحب يستفيد أو شايف حاله ما بده يعني شرح مرة أخرى أو مش بحاجة شرح مرة أخرى، فمش ضروري يحضروا. بس يعني هاي المراجعة أنا بحسها يعني كويسة. وأخيراً الطريقة الثانية close. English has an alphabet that consists of 26 letters. English has an alphabet consisting of 26 letters. Note the difference between the sentence, the first one and the second one. English has an alphabet. We removed that and we changed the form of the verb from the simple present into the progressive form, or what is called here the gerund. ليش ما بنعتبر progressive form? Because we don't have a verb to be precedes it. So English has an alphabet consisting of 26 letters. Anyone who wants to come with us is welcome. Anyone wanting to come, we removed who and we changed the verb into the progressive form, into the gerund form, and we continued the sentence as is. Here in this case, the verb in each case, it's not a verb to be. It is a full verb, يعني فعل عادي, مش verb to be. So we remove the subject, we change the verb into the gerund form. If there is no be form of the verb in the adjective clause, it is sometimes possible to omit the subject pronoun and change the verb into its ing form as in H and I. What we did is as simple as that. We remove the adjective pronoun and we change the verb into the ing form. بس هاي لما إيش بنعمل؟ لما بنحول when we reduce the adjective clause into an adjective phrase. Paris, which is the capital of France, is an exciting city. Paris, the capital of France, is an exciting city. This is the third way in which we change the adjective clause into a pronoun, into a phrase. Paris, which is the capital of France. Here, which is, we have subject, we have a verb, and we have the complement, and it is an adjective clause. While in the second sentence, Paris, the capital of France. The capital of France is not a clause. It is what? It's a phrase, because we don't have a subject or a verb in the sentence. Is an exciting city. If the adjective clause requires commas, as in I, as in J, عفوا here, the adjective phrase also requires comma. لاحظوا استخدمنا هنا comma, استخدمنا كمان هون commas. As in K, an adjective phrase in which a noun follows another noun, as in K, is called an appositive. Paris, لما يكون في عندنا noun that is followed by a noun, it is called appositive. Like in K, Paris, the capital of France. Here is a noun phrase, the capital of France. مش مهم إنه اسمها يعني، بس المهم إنه تعرفوا كيف بتشيلوا السبجكت والverb and how to use the commas when they are necessary. تمام? Any questions so far? If an adjective clause that contains a be and a single adjective is changed, the adjective is moved into its normal position in the front of the noun it modifies. Fruit that is a fresh tastes better than old, soft, mushy fruit. The correct phrase, fresh fruits taste better than old, soft, mushy fruit. The incorrect form, fruit fresh. طبعا لازم يكون fresh fruit, مش fruit fresh. Taste better than an old, soft, mushy fruit. لما يكون في عندنا verb to be, we as a single adjective is changed the adjective is moved into the normal position. Fresh fruit tastes better than all the old soft mushy fruits. Do you have any question? Let's do ما عندنا كثير إلا 4 دقائق. خلينا نحاول نحل على الأقل هذا التمرين. Looking at grammar, change the adjective clause to adjective phrase. Do you know the woman who is coming toward us? Do you know the woman coming toward us? The scientists who are researching the causes of cancer are making progress. برضو هون سهلة. بدنا نشيل الأشياء ونحول إلى ing form. The scientists researching the causes of cancer are making progress. هي حلت لكم إياها أنا. Number 3, we have an apartment which overlooks the park. يلا فرجوني شطارتكم بهاي. مين ضل معنا؟ ضل معنا 11 شخص. أحمد، آية، دانيا، إبراهيم، غيدة، تمارا، مرح، أسامة، يزيد، إسراء وأمنية. يلا يا شباب العرب. Show me your magic. صراحة أنا تعبت. يلا شدوا حيلكم. أوكي يا أحمد. ليش؟ معناته في مشكلة بالإنترنت. طيب بالنسبة لطلاب التكميلي، هي رئيس القسم ببعث إذا كان فيكم حدا عنده تعارض. بالنسبة هلا ببعث على الجروب أنا برجع. بالنسبة للطلاب التكميلي تعطى الأولوية لمادة التخصص. تعطى الأولوية لمادة التخصص. يعني إذا كانت عندك مادة جرامر كمان سليمان انقطع نته. يلا شو بدنا نعمل؟ إذا كانت مادة الجرامر 2 تعتبر بالنسبة لكم مادة تخصص، تعطى الأولوية على باقي المواد. يعني في عندك مادة تخصص جرامر وفي مادة حرة أو اختيارية، تعطى الأولوية لمادة التخصص. إذا كانت مادة جرامر تعتبر بالنسبة لك مادة حرة أو مادة اختيارية، تعطى وفي بنفس الوقت مادة تخصص أخرى تعطى الأولوية لمادة التخصص. أنا بدي أحصر الأسماء علشان أعمل لكم فقط للطلاب اللي عندهم تعارض، فقط أعمل لهم جلسة، يعني ما بحق لأي حدا ثاني يقدم فيها. طيب خلينا نشوف أسامة شو حللنا إياها. We have an apartment overlooks. شو حكينا يا أسامة؟ بنعملها للI NG form مش هيك؟ مش هيك؟ برضو بتصير. لا عندنا هون overlook. وينها؟ which overlooks. Overlook here عندنا it's not a verb to be, so you need to do it in ing form. We have an apartment which overlooks the park. We have an apartment overlooking the park. Overlooking يعني مطلة على الحديقة. The photographers معنا دقيقة واحدة. The photographers which were published in the newspaper were extraordinary. The photographs published لأنه هنا verb to be ما فيش إن ing form. Published in the newspaper were extraordinary. I have to stop here. بتحلوا الواجب لحالكم. بتلاقوني بمحاضرة المراجعة. ممكن إنه نرجع نغطي هاي نعيد النظر بهاي المعلومة. I'm so happy to meet you in this class. I was happy with you. I hope that you get a lot of information in this course. And if you have any question, if you have any inquiry, please do not hesitate. Ask me in private or in the group. You are welcome anytime. I hope to meet you in the future because I did not meet most of you. I don't know most of you. It was a pleasure to have a course with you in this summer course. يعطيكم العافية وإن شاء الله بنلتقي أنا وياكم